This is Laura DeFranco, holistic physical therapist and owner of Brave Healer Productions. I'm excited to bring you my new holistic healing series where you're going to learn from the experts what it means to live fiercely alive, mind, body, and soul. I invite you now to take a breath, relax, and feel the vibe of the words my guest has to share with you today. Hey, everybody. Welcome. Thank you for joining us for this very special episode. I have one of the amazing authors for the new book, Find Your Voice, Save Your Life, with me here today to help me with this mission that I have of changing the world one brave word at a time. Dianna Blakely-Moore is a social service worker and single mom of two amazing boys. She strives each day to continue on her recovery journey and is proud of where she is today on that journey. Dianna, thank you so much for being here.
Oh, thank you, Laura.
So we did this amazing book, Find Your Voice, Save Your Life. This was a compilation with almost 24 women. And for each of us, it was about our own unique journey in terms of finding, healing, expressing our voice. And what I kind of want to know from you first off the bat here is, what's it meant for you personally to find your voice? And tell us about this amazing chapter that you wrote.
Personally, to find my voice has meant that I have grown. I thought that before this book I had found my voice, but doing this chapter, I really found my voice. I found it comfortable to be who I am. And all along the way, the partners that I was with were like cheering me on, cheering me on. And I just, now today, I feel so confident in sharing my story because that's a scary thing to do, right? So,
oh my gosh,
yeah.
Really scary. I mean, so what do you think makes it so scary?
Because in my chapter, I exposed a lot of stuff that happened in my childhood, and in my adulthood, actually. So it's kind of scary to put that info out there that you may be judged. But you got to deal with that if you want to find your voice, right?
Yes, fear of what other people will think, fear of offending or upsetting somebody. There's so many things there, right?
Being ostracized is a big one for me. Yeah.
So tell us a little bit more about the chapter itself and a little bit about your story.
Well, my chapter takes over my whole life. As a young child, I had a traumatic childhood. Throughout my whole teenage years, I was stigmatized by professionals, friends, family, etc. And then I disclose that I have a mental health diagnosis, which I'm not going to tell you. You can read the book and find out. And then struggling to live with that diagnosis while raising two kids, and then recovery. I walk recovery every day. I will never be recovered. I walk it every day.
And what stood out for me so much was the support and community that you eventually had around you that helped you on. Yeah. Tell me a little bit about that.
Well, the first person that really got to my heart and my head was actually an employer who also had mental health issues. And at that point in my life, I was like, oh, I can't do anything. I'd been told, just take my meds and sit in the corner and smoke cigarettes or drink, whatever you're going to do, right? And this individual looked at me and she's like, you are smart. You can do what you want to do. You go do it. And she gave me that confidence, and I ended up going to school and having a career. So that was awesome of her. I'm still friends with her today, actually.
That is super awesome. I mean, one person who they can make a difference. One person's even just a couple of words of support can make a difference.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So, yeah, she just had so much faith in me that I gained that faith from her talking to me, right?
Yeah, that's amazing. And I love the way that you told that story and told that story about the people that were supporting you. I was like, yes, those kinds of people are so awesome. And it really, really matters to have them in your life and to surround yourself with more people that are like that, and think about, who is around you playing whatever particular role they're playing, negative or positive. It's really up to us to weed out the negative and move toward that community that's a bit more positive and supportive, especially if we're in the middle of a recovery process, right? For me, this is about awareness. I think awareness plays a foundational role in healing, no matter what kind of healing we're talking about. So talk to me a little bit about your awareness practice. How important has that been to you?
What do you mean by my awareness practice?
Well, just, what you're paying attention to, how you walk the recovery road every day in your mind.
Oh, the biggest aspect of my recovery road is that I always look back and I think about how when I was really, really sick, I surrounded myself with the wrong people. And then when I started to find my voice, I started finding women, actually, it turned out to be women, who had stronger voices, and I lean on them a lot, a lot, a lot. So that's the biggest part of my recovery, is just learning that it's okay to lean on people when you need people to lean on.
Yeah, that's really, really important. I mean, I consider just the moment where you realize you should reach out and then actually do it, to be a part of the awareness process that I'm talking about, right? Because you could be sitting in a bad day in your mind and all of the things that are going through your mind, and you may not even get to the place where you even think to reach out and then actually do it, right? You have to be in the practice of watching your own thoughts and then understanding like what's going to be better for you in that moment. So it's a big deal. We're talking about reaching out to somebody. That's a big deal for a lot of people.
And you can't forget in the process as well that every time your brain is going somewhere on you, you're not feeling well, you don't have to reach out. It's okay. If you just want to sit on the couch for 2 hours or a day, whatever, that's fine. Do it. As long as you're in a safe place, do it.
Yeah, I think that's key. As long as you're safe, you have to honor what's going on inside of you.
Yep.
So I think that, the success of this journey, recovery or other forms of it, it really requires some pretty radical self-care. And I know that you're taking care of yourself more and more. And I think that's a process. We get a little better at it, and then it kind of grows. But talk to me a little bit about something that you do to take care of yourself.
Well, I hate to admit this live, but I'm a big Reba McEntire fan.
That's a good one.
So seriously, that is my go-to when I am not feeling 100%. I just crank on some Reba. It's also the best way to clean the downstairs of the house because none of the boys want to hear it.
Music is a fast and furious way to shift your vibe. It is I'm using music this past year more than I ever have. Same scenarios, cleaning for sure. The music is going on. Yeah. So, I mean, taking care of yourself is the part that you're talking about right now with music, is just like having some fun.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
yeah, doing something that you enjoy, right? Anything else besides music?
Yeah. Oh, I like to play video games, but I shouldn't announce that live either. But yeah.
No, I
No,
mean,
music's my go-to. If I'm in a bad mood, I think this is typical for a lot of people. If you listen to an upbeat music, it's kind of easy to change your mindset, especially if you're like in the song and the singer.
I fully agree with that. And even with video games for a moment, if we are going to go there. And also for other people, it might be Netflix or movies. There's a place in the zone of a game or a show. And I remember in one of the toughest years that I had after I was separated, and some of those nights were really, really bad. I knew that I just needed to pop on something that was going to make me laugh or have me focused on something that was fun, enjoyable, was going to make me. And video games, I think, are that for people too. I have people in my house who love the games, but I mean, wouldn't you say that that's part of it for you?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. You know, everything in moderation, right? Including the Netflix for me. So it's all good. I
Yeah.
enjoy walking. I get outside. That's an energy shifter for me. You know, self-care for me, a lot of times is just making sure I'm working out, getting some exercise, moving my body, burning up that energy that I have. Journaling. You know, I know you listeners have lots of different ways that you do this for yourselves. And it's great. I think the thing that I think about a lot here is that one day your typical tools, the tools you're most often reach for, may not work. So you have to get creative sometimes and just try something else and see, you know. So yeah. So we have all been through a heck of a year. And yeah. And so whatever stresses were there before this year, we got dumped on with COVID, and people have been dealing with an extraordinarily high amount of anxiety and stress and all kinds of things. And I wanted to know what you would say to somebody who might be struggling right now, kind of an easy entry point onto this journey. What would you offer?
Um, Find a safe person and reach out if you can. If you can't, I think it goes back to maybe the self-care, maybe journaling how you feel, so you can maybe look back on a day that you're feeling bad or feeling better, and you can see how you were feeling the other day to kind of compare it and maybe make yourself smile. Um, I like to keep things light, nothing serious around my house. A lot of people maybe don't have kids and whatever, but we make sure there's a lot of laughing and joking going on. And just try. I know that you're supposed to self isolate, but you can still Zoom or call people. And I always remember that "not today" thing that Cam H is doing. I don't know if you know what that is, but it's a "not today" suicide, not today commercial. So I always remember that "not today" commercial if you've seen it. And yeah, just reach out. There's really not much you can do. So
Yeah, I hear you. And I think that's really, really good advice. I love what you said about even if you're sheltering in place, we've got this big, bad, beautiful internet, and you can reach out on Zoom. You can reach out with a phone call. You can even reach out with a text, right? There's a lot of ways just to say, hey, start up a conversation with somebody, and someone who is a safe space for you. Super
there's also a
important.
lot of Facebook groups that you can look up,
Yeah.
like mental health. If you're suffering from mental health, depression, many Facebook groups you can search up.
Have you had some success being in those groups? Do you find them helpful?
I do find them helpful because you realize that you're not alone, right? Because I live in a little town. There's not much people talking about mental health stuff like that. So yeah, it's good to reach out, and sometimes it's also good to have somebody on the other end of the computer that you don't really know. So sometimes it feels safer to express what you want to express, really.
I think that the moment you realize you're not alone, somebody has shared an authentic story, very similar to the stories that are in this book that we're here to celebrate today. That's a game-changing moment, can be, for a lot of people. And there are a lot of ways to help people not feel alone, right? And of course, for this book, it was about asking you to share that authentic story in a way that helps others feel that way. And I think if that we did one thing with this book, that's what we did. And
Absolutely.
you are all so brave to share your stories and to just be your full-on self and just say, hey, this is what it was, and this is how I did it, and this is how I moved through it. And if I can do that, you can do that, you know?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. If there's anything people get out of the book, is if they're in a really bad spot, read these stories and see what these women have done, and hopefully they can find themselves in those words somewhere and try to figure out how they can make their own path of finding their voice, right?
Yes, that is for sure. And you guys, Dianna's story is going to be one of those where you're feeling that way. So Dianna, thank you so much for, just walking this walk and for saying yes to this project and for being here today to share it with everybody.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. I'm pretty proud of myself, I'll tell you that. Pretty proud of you guys too.
So listeners, I want you to know that this magnificent book launches on February 2nd. So you can join us for, if you're listening before that date, you can join us for the live stream launch event on the Brave Badass Healers Facebook page. I'm going to hook you up down below with the links and the places to go. We're going to be chatting with all of the authors, having a little launch party, doing some awesome giveaways, really fun stuff on the 2nd. And if you're listening after the 2nd, well, that means the book is available and you can go on down and get that link and grab your copy and read Dianna's full story and all of the other amazing women in this book. And yeah, I think you're going to be blown away by all of it. Any last words for our listeners, Dianna, about this topic?
Just try to find your voice if you haven't yet. Try to figure it out.
That's what it's about, right?
Yeah.
All right, you guys, lastly on these shows, I love to end with a big juicy question. So here it is. What if there's something you haven't learned yet that could change everything? It's time to be brave, you guys. See you soon. Thank you, Dianna.
Thank you.
Love what you heard today. Don't forget to drop down and hit that subscribe button, you guys, and then join me over at bravehealer.com for just a little bit more healing badassery. Have a great one.